So we come to these fairly difficult passages in Ezekiel, which we're going to work through over the next 4 or 5 days. Now, Ezekiel was a prophet with a message for the people of God, the children of Israel. The city of Jerusalem had been ransacked, and the Jewish people, the children of Israel, have been exiled off to Babylon, where they're being held captive. And this part of Jewish history is known as the exile. And this book was written by Ezekiel with a message from God to try and help the children of Israel understand what had happened to them and why they were in this mess in the exile in Babylon. And basically, to cut a very, very long story short, the Jewish people had turned their back on God, they'd ignored him, they'd been disobedient, they'd broken his rules, they'd forgotten God really in their daily lives. And what, if you want, these next passages can be summed up by is that actions have consequences. You know, when we make mistakes, when we screw up, there are consequences. And I have to say, over the next 4 or 5 days, the readings from Ezekiel are bloomin' hard. They're difficult to read, they're quite complex, but hang in there, because there is a really important set of messages for us. And the challenge for us is to say, okay, all these years later, on this side of the cross, what do these passages mean for us? Well, as I said, I think the first one is that actions have consequences, is that one of the big mega themes of the book of Ezekiel is that God is holy. And Ezekiel writes in chapter 22 and verse 26, "Your priests have violated my laws. They have defiled my holy things. You have treated me with contempt." And in chapter 23 of Ezekiel, we see this adultery of 2 sisters. And what's all that about? Well, what that's about is that the 2 sisters are Samaria and Jerusalem, and that they have, in this chapter, you'll see a drama unfolding about how these 2 cities have broken God's rules. And even, we see in chapter 23, verse 39, they were even sacrificing children to idols. I mean, truly horrific. So God reminds Ezekiel that even the cities have sinned as well. But then he says, you've sinned. Not just the cities, you have. Each of you individually. Verse 29, we read that the people were oppressing the poor, they were oppressing the needy and the broken. God always looks for those who will stand up for the broken, those who will stand up for the needy, those who will stand up for the marginalized. But then the passage has this amazing bit. It says, I'm looking for one person, just one person, says God. Verse 30, one person who'll do the right thing, one person who'll help me rebuild this city with a wall, not of bricks, but a wall of righteousness. Just one person. And God couldn't find that one person. All he needed was one person. And sometimes in school or in university, we can feel we're swimming against the tide, we're on our own, everybody else is doing all the wrong stuff, and it's just us. Well, God just needs one person to do the right thing, one person to stand up for the poor, one person to follow him, one person to make a difference. This passage says God needs one person. Will you be that person? I hope so. I'll do my best to be that person too. Have a great day.